Good morning, Dave speaking.
Oh, hi. I'm phoning about a short story competition. I saw an advert in a magazine, and I was just calling to get some details.
Yes, certainly. I'm the competition organiser, so I should be able to help. What kind of details are you looking for?
Well, does it cost anything to enter?
Yes, there's an entry fee of £5.
Okay, that should be fine. It's a short story competition, so how many words is that?
Well, we want to give people a reasonable amount of freedom, but the guidelines are around 3,000 words.
Oh, that sounds quite a lot.
Well, it's not as much as it used to be. We did have a limit of 5,000 words, but some people thought that was too many. So this year we've reduced it.
Right. And does the story need to be about anything in particular?
No, you can write about any topic you like. But the main point of the competition is that it has to have a surprise ending.
Oh, I see. That sounds interesting. I don't think I've ever written a story like that before.
Yes, it's something we've introduced for this year's competition.
Right. I'm 18. Is there any age in it?
Yes, you need to be 16 or over. So if you're 18, that's fine.
Great. So you have the competition once a year, is that right?
Yes, we start advertising in January, and the competition takes up a lot of the year. We give people a few months to write their story, and then it takes quite a long time to judge all the entries and to announce the winners.
I see. So when is the closing date for the competition? It's already April. I hope I'm not too late.
No, you've still got plenty of time. You need to submit your entry by the 1st of August. After then, it will be too late. Although you can always enter next year's competition.
Okay, good. So how do I enter?
Well, we have a website, and the best way to enter is to complete the entry form online. We also have more details of the competition on the site. Shall I give you the web address?
Yes, please.
Okay, it's www.comp4ss.com, and that's the number 4, not the word 4.
Okay, thanks. I've got that. So I can complete the entry form online, but how do I send the story? Do I print it out and send it to you?
Well, you may want to print the story out so you can review it, but don't post it to us. When you've finished your story, you will need to email it to us. The email address is on the website I gave you.
Okay, that's fine.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you will have some time to look at the questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
Can you tell me a bit about how the competition is judged and what the prizes are?
Yes, of course. Well, once we have all the entries, I send them to all the judges. Our competition is quite popular, so we are lucky to be able to use famous authors who are very interested in the competition.
That's fantastic. It's great to know that someone famous will be reading my story.
Yes, that's right. It takes them quite a while to read through the entries, but eventually they decide on the top 5 stories.
I see. And what happens then?
Well, they will be published online so everyone can read them. They will not be in any order at this point. They will just be the 5 stories that the judges think are the best.
And do all the top 5 stories get prizes?
No, it's just the top story and the runner-up.
So how is the top story decided?
Well, once the top 5 stories are available, it will be the public who will vote for their favourite story.
Right, I need to get all my friends to vote for me then.
Yes, that's a good idea.
And what is the prize?
Well, the runner-up gets a prize of £300, but the winner gets a trip to Spain to attend a workshop for writers.
Wow, that's brilliant! I'd better get writing straight away.
Yes. Good luck.
Thanks.
That is the end of part 1. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to part 1. Part 2.
You will hear a guide talking about a sea life centre. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17.
Okay, so hi everybody and welcome to the Sea Life Centre. Before you start on your tour, I'd just like to give you some information about things to look out for as you go. Well, first of all, I guess some of you may have been here before and may be surprised to see the name has changed. We're not called World of Water anymore. Since the beginning of this summer, we've been renamed, and we've also made a few other changes. However, the main attractions like the aquarium, the crocodiles, the penguins and so on are still here. But we have a new restaurant and picnic area, and the latest thing that we have, and it was only finished last week, is the Splash Ride. This is an exciting new area of the centre and is pretty scary, and of course you do get a bit wet, so make sure you're not wearing your best clothes. As I said, the main attractions are still here, and the most popular thing that everyone wants to see is feeding time, especially for the crocodiles and the seals. We used to have the main feeding time in the afternoon at around 3 p.m. But we found that some of the animals got a bit hungry waiting until then, and so we now have it at noon. They seem much happier with the new time, although it's a bit difficult to know what they're thinking. Now, I'd like to mention something new that we've introduced this year that we're very excited about. It's called a VIP ticket. The VIP ticket costs an extra £2 per person, and you will be amazed at what it allows you to do. With this, you'll be allowed to feed the sharks. Now, I know that for some people, this might be quite a frightening thing to do, but it is perfectly safe. For those of you who are a bit unsure, we do have a video you can watch to see what happens. It's a great experience and your friends will be very impressed. Speaking of friends, I'd just like to remind you that the Sea Life Centre will be more than happy to organise a birthday party for you and your family and friends. If you need more details, you can speak to me afterwards, and there are also forms at the entrance that you can fill in. I'd also like to bring your attention to the good work that the Sea Life Centre is doing in support of animal conservation. I'm sure you're all aware of the worrying situation with a large number of species facing extinction. Here at the Sea Life Centre, we're taking action by asking as many people as possible to sign a petition. Once we have over 5,000 signatures, we are planning to send it to the government in the hope that more people will begin to take it seriously. Right, well, there's obviously a lot going on at the centre and a lot of things to discover. At all the attractions, there is helpful information, so please read as much as you can, and if you want to see what you've remembered, please do the quiz after your visit. There are no prizes, of course, but I'm sure you'll be surprised by how much you've learnt.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you will have some time to look at the questions 18 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 18 to 20.
So, before I leave you all to start your tour, I've just got a few tips. There are a large number of attractions and you may not have time to see them all. Of course, there are the old favourites like the aquarium and the crocodile cave, but if you don't have time to see everything, make sure you visit Turtle Town, which is beyond the aquarium and the seal centre. This is very special and has a large number of endangered species, and as it's at the far corner of the Sea Life Centre, it often gets overlooked. I also have to apologise for the Penguin Park. This has needed some urgent work to be done and so will not be open for the next week. We're very sorry about this, but I'm sure you'll find the Seal Centre, which is directly opposite it, will keep you entertained just as much, if not more. We're also very busy today, as you may have noticed on your way in. Everyone starts here at the aquarium, but as it's so big, there's no waiting to get in. But today, we're expecting a lot of people to want to see the crocodile cave, as a couple of eggs have hatched out. So expect delays there, and if you like, move on to the Seal Centre first, and then go back when things are quieter towards the end of the day. So, I'll leave you now, but if you have any questions, I won't be far away, and have a great time at the Sea Life Centre.
That is the end of part 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 2. Part 3.
You will hear two students talking about their university studies. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26.
George. How's it going?
Hi Martina, it's going well. How about you? How's university life?
Well, it's great. Apart from the studying, of course.
Yeah, me too. What are you studying? I seem to remember that you were going to do art. That was your best subject, wasn't it?
No, not really. I just liked the teacher. He was French and had an amazing accent. My favourite subject was history, but I couldn't see what career that would give me.
Oh, right. So, what did you choose?
Well, I found it really difficult to decide. I was really good at science, but I must admit, I never really enjoyed studying it. So, in the end, I decided to opt for English, which was my second favourite subject, and I thought it would be more useful to me than studying anything else. So, that's what I'm doing. How are you finding university?
Well, it's a bit of a challenge, I suppose.
Are you finding it difficult?
Well, some of it. I'm doing mechanical engineering, which is really interesting, but it covers quite a lot of areas, like materials science, machine design, physics, and of course mechanics. And they're all fine, but it's maths that I'm struggling with. It's a lot harder than it was at school.
I can believe it. It all sounds very difficult to me. But then I never was very good at mechanical things. I suppose it must involve some practical work.
Well, not at the moment. Currently, it's nearly all theory, so it's a bit heavy going.
I guess you need to start with that so that you can get a grasp of the concepts and learn a few facts before you start putting it into practice. It must be a lot different to the course that I'm taking.
Yes, but in a few weeks we'll be having a lot more practical experience. In fact, I've got a great assignment this term working on jet engines, which means I'll be going on a few field trips to a nearby airport.
Oh, that's great. It sounds like you're going to be very busy.
Yes, I'm not sure how I'm going to cope with the work. We have a lot of lectures, and that's fine. The lecturers are very knowledgeable, and I learn a lot from them. But we also have a lot of seminars, and I find with so many people expressing their views, it can get quite frustrating. It would be better if we didn't have so many of those.
Yes, it's the same for me.
Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
How are the students at your place?
Well, I haven't really met anyone yet. They all seem a bit quiet.
Perhaps they're working hard. They don't appear to be very studious here, but they are very friendly. I must say, I've been doing a lot of sitting around and chatting over the last week or so.
Well, that's good. The only person I've spoken to really is my tutor. He's very approachable and seems to understand how difficult it can be starting university.
It's good to have someone you can talk to, and he may help you meet other students.
Actually, that doesn't bother me. I'm bound to get to know some people sooner or later. It's more a question of finding out what I need to do, where to go, and so on. I hope he can help me with that.
Oh, I would have thought so. Well, we certainly have a lot of work ahead of us. It seems like a long time, doesn't it? Studying for 3 years.
Yes, it does, but I'm sure it'll go quickly. You know, I'm really dreading the first assessment.
Yes. For the course I'm doing, we have to hand our first one in at the end of next month.
Really? So, have you got the topic yet?
No, but we'll get it soon. I'm not sure how much we have to write yet. Not too much, I hope.
I know what you mean. And it's hard to study, especially where I am now.
Oh, where are you living?
I'm living in a hall of residence. I thought that would be a good idea, as there'd be a lot of people around, but I'm finding it a bit noisy. I can see that I'm going to have problems when I really need to get down to some work.
So, I guess you need to be somewhere on your own then?
Yes. Well, I do like to have some people around me, so I'd prefer to live with a family somewhere, in a house not too far from the university.
Well, good luck with that.
Yes, thanks. And good luck to you as well. Oh, I have to dash now. I have another lecture in 10 minutes. Bye for now.
Bye!
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 3. Part 4.
You will hear someone talking about creating a presentation. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Hello everyone. You've all been given an assignment for your sociology course, which will involve giving a presentation to the rest of the group. And so today, I'm going to be giving you a few tips on how to prepare your presentations. This should help you with your current assignment, but a lot of the principles I'll be putting across will be general principles which will, of course, help you with all your future presentations. So, first of all, the most important thing to consider is your audience. And in this instance, your audience are the other students in your group. There are 3 points to bear in mind. Firstly, you need to ask yourself what they need to know. Secondly, it's useful to consider whether they'll be supportive or not. And thirdly, will it be a small group, say 3 or 4, a moderate gathering of 20 or so people, as for your current assignment, or will there be hundreds of people? Having said all that, what I'm about to tell you will apply equally to any audience. So, how do you structure your presentation? Right at the beginning, you should tell them something that forces them to pay attention. This could be something surprising or even shocking, but it needs to be relevant. After that, you need a list of items or topics showing them what you'll be covering, rather like an agenda. And then the main part of the presentation will follow. This main part will be the detailed information you'll be presenting, and could include facts, statistics, personal experiences, etc. After this, you should summarize what you've presented and close with what I call next steps. For this assignment, you could simply point the group to other sociology reference material. In other cases, you may want to suggest some actions that people can take. Now, what about the design of the slides for your laptop? Well, the important thing here is to be consistent. You need to have the same type of font and use the same color and size for the same elements. For example, all headers need to look the same. All bullet points need to be presented in the same way. And don't just stick to words. Bring the presentation to life by adding graphics. These could be in several forms, such as pictures, flowcharts, diagrams, histograms, and so on. And so let's move on now to presenting. You have your presentation prepared and you're ready to start. Well, it's important to give a good impression from the start. So take 3 deep breaths, look at the audience, no matter how frightening they may be, and be enthusiastic and energetic. As you go through the presentation, remember to provide some variety in the way you speak. So, for example, you can talk fairly rapidly for information that may be familiar, but then slow down for more unfamiliar sections. And change your tone as you speak. Don't keep it at the same level all the way through. As I mentioned, look at your audience. A good tip is to pick people out and look at them for around 5 seconds. Not looking at the audience gives the impression that you're either not interested in them or terrified of them. Looking too long at one particular person may make them feel rather uncomfortable. There may be points in your presentation that you want your audience to really absorb. And in order to make important points stand out, you may consider adding silence right after these. It will give people time to reflect on what you've just said. Also, you may be presenting complicated ideas or technical details, but try to keep everything as simple as possible. Use simple words and as few as possible. And be clear. If you say something like, "This appears to be," it implies uncertainty. So using weak verbs such as appears, seems, could be, etc., needs to be avoided. I'll just finish off with a few thoughts on questions and interruptions from the audience. You may choose to invite questions from the audience as you go, or ask them to wait until the end. Either way, questions should be encouraged, as it provides you with some feedback on how interested the audience is and how well they're understanding you. When a question is asked, you need to provide an answer that is as accurate as possible. So initially, my tip is to repeat it. This will ensure you have heard it correctly and will give you a few seconds to gather your thoughts. Interruptions, on the other hand, can be unwelcome, and you may get them for a variety of reasons. It's likely, however, that there's something in your presentation that's unclear or confusing. So my advice is to reduce problems by reading through your presentation beforehand and predicting potential points which could cause interruptions. You may then want to change that part of your presentation, or at least you will be prepared if someone does interrupt you. Now, do you have any questions? That is the end of part 4.
Ok. Bắt đầu nhá. Bên này đánh giá dễ khó.
Phải làm rồi.
Đâu làm đâu?
Làm rồi.
Thế?
Em chắc chắn làm rồi.
Thế ai làm này chưa?
Chưa làm bao giờ.
Thế à?
Is this real chat?
Nhưng mà làm rồi nhớ gì không? Nhớ không mà.
Chỗ ấy mà nghe dễ.
À nghe dễ. Nhưng mà bài này anh thấy nghe cũng đơn giản. Cái thi này khá là ok. Nếu mà bảo dễ thì min là phải là 6,5.
Rồi.
Thì cây tươi là phải 6,5. Square 6,5. Listening minimum 26 câu. Rồi, câu số 1 đáp án sẽ là gì đây? Bao nhiêu? 3,000 words. Word đây thì mặc định là phải có gì rồi? Có S rồi nha. Đáp án chính xác. Câu số 2. Surprise. Có ai điền surprising không? No. Surprise. Ai điền surprising cũng được nhá. Hai đáp án. Surprising thì đúng. Thì là sai. Sao lại có surprisingly ở đây tính từ à? Surprise or surprising nhá. Surprisingly thôi. Số 3. Mấy tuổi? 16. Minimum age tham gia là 60 tuổi á. Hơi khoai.
Thi mà biết dương lão rồi.
16 nha. Có ai viết khác không?
Ghi hẳn chữ 16 rồi.
16. Ghi hẳn chữ 16 này hả? Ok. Nhưng mà thôi thi thì cứ 16 này thôi. Last entry date. The 1st of August. Ok. Chú ý cách viết của 1st August nha. Có ST. Và thứ hai nữa là chính tả từ August. Có ai thiếu ST không? Được, ok. Nhưng mà phải có ST nhé. Thế thôi, có lại thứ tự thì sắp xếp nào.
Một ET sau hay trước cũng được.
Được, một ET sau trước được. Số 5. C O M E 4 S S. Người ta bảo là number 4 đúng không? Chứ không phải là chữ số, nó phải chữ 4. Compass là P. Từ bản chất nó là P. Rồi ơi, mua bằng rồi. Thì 15 câu sai 2 rồi. Số 6 là gì mọi người? Do not post the story. Ok xong. 7. A well known. Có S không? Chỗ này nhớ là ở đằng trước không nhìn thấy S, không nhìn thấy ân gì đấy đúng không? Cho nên là mặc định là author sẽ phải có S rồi. Theo một ngữ pháp nữa. Rồi, số 8 thì sao? Online. Số 9. Public. Số 10. Là qua rồi. Ok, Minh Anh. Em tụt chung vào lúc bạn đến nên không nghe thế. Bảo 10. Spain. Yeah. Part 2. Wow. Wow. 12. The newest attraction at the center is the splash ride. Đúng rồi. 13. Khi mà noon.
Afternoon. Sai. Ghi là 12 giờ đúng không?
No. Không, afternoon không phải đâu. Afternoon là sau noon rồi mà. Afternoon là nó tính vào khoảng tầm 4 giờ đổ đi á. Thì noon là từ cái lúc mà 1 giờ đến 4 giờ chiều, nên là tính là noon. Noon, afternoon là khác nhau. Noon khoảng 4 đến 6 giờ hết. 14. Sharps. 15 là gì? Birthday. Là gì kia? 16 là gì? Có government. Chú ý là government cũng hay bị viết sai chính tả nhá, đánh vần đi. Yeah. Ok. Để ý xem mình thiếu cái N không nhá. 17. Xin mời Xuân Minh. Chứng tỏ em đến quá muộn. Để ghi vậy. Quiz. Yes. Quiz some Quizlet. The guy say about each extraction. Somehow. Must not miss là cái nào đấy? Ai bảo Y tới đây? Linh 18. A hơn sai rồi, Y rồi. Y là bản nha, chơi được sao nhé. Nó có nhắc đến A không ấy nhỉ? Nhưng mà nhiễu đúng không? Temporarily close. C is the correct answer. Large queues. No. B is the correct answer. Khi ở nghe lại ba cái thằng này ấy nhỉ? Đúng hết không? Đâu có người sai hả?
Anh nói thế cho nhiễu anh.
Nhiễu gì bậy bạ hả?
A với nó nhiễu hết.
Nhiễu hết không ai. Ê, nhưng mà cái thằng aquarium này có thông tin gì có ai nhớ?
Nó bảo là người ta xếp hàng lại
từ aquarium. Yes, ok thì sao? Có nghĩa không phải xếp hàng dài để vào aquarium mà nó xếp dài quá để vào gì đấy? Crocodile cave này nỗi là dài sang ở aquarium. Ok. Rồi, part 3. Part 3 anh muốn nhá, mỗi bàn là một nhóm. Trao đổi cho anh 10 câu của part 3.
ok.
Mỗi bàn nhá, nghe nhá, mỗi bàn phải chốt cho anh đúng 10 câu của part 3. Có nghĩa chốt về một đáp án thôi. Được chưa? Cả nhóm chốt lại về một đáp án. Ok, anh cho khoảng thời gian là 2 phút bàn luận, thảo luận, chốt về một đáp án. Rồi anh chữa. Hết cả 10 câu.
Thôi chị với xem.
Nhóm nào điểm thấp nhất sẽ bị phạt nhá. Ôi no. Điểm thấp nhất phạt.
Đây đến anh em cô anh vừa nhé, đi đến anh sau này Mark anh dùng rồi đây lái mà chui xuống này có 4 giờ bàn kiểu 4 giờ bốn bàn của nhóm sẽ có những bạn Jet engine mà chỉ điểm một đồng thôi nên chỉ có từ engine không phải là S đâu, C nó nặng là không học được nhưng mà sai nó đi đâu này nó cho bây sai cái đó phải cái nào không phải thẳng là engine không thì mẹ là ở đây là có quay mạnh còn
Ba mươi giây. Gì nghe gì cho cái chân làm về nhà Linh ơi,
cho em đổi
nghe như điếc vậy.
đổi bạn cùng bạn giờ
Vừa đổi. Luật đấy. Sáng làm gì không? Ok, bắt đầu. Tất cả nhóm đổi sang bút đỏ nhá. Không bút đỏ á? Nói chung là thôi tự giác chính trực nhé. Sai câu nào thì x vào đấy. Rồi ok, xong bắt đầu. Câu số 21 xin mời 39 Lý Tư Kiệt.
câu 31 này cảm ơn Linh supportive
Supportive?
no.
Cái gì đấy?
21 D
D. Chọn đi được không anh em? 21 thì nói chung là đảo được đúng không? Hai đáp án chính xác là có đi. Đáp án còn lại là gì? D and B. Hai đáp án chính xác. DB or BD. Rồi số 23 xin mời nhóm Tủa Tâm. Math có S không nhỉ?
có
Ai bảo có S từ tay? Nhóm nào ghi có S từ tay? Không dơ mà đáp án là có S thì chứng tỏ là X nhá. Không có S đúng không?
chắc chắn là không rồi.
Có S nha.
Thấy chưa, tao nghe thấy em. Yes.
Math môn học là sẽ có S nhá.
Cái này nó ghi rồi là có hết rồi. Chưa được lại rồi. Rồi tao ghi có mà.
24
Theory.
Theory. It's cost mainly theory. Lý thuyết. 24 sẽ là câu nghe lại ha. 25 có một phòng. Engine có S không? Engine có S à? Khó đấy. Đáp án chính xác engines. Các loại động cơ engine sẽ có S.
Jet engines.
Jet engines. Được điền mấy từ, một từ thôi đúng không? Engine. Alright, 26 nhóm Huy. Seminars. Chắc chắn có S rồi, trước có gì rồi? Wow rồi đúng không? Seminar. Phát âm nó là seminars. Ok. Rồi, nghe lại luôn câu 24 đi.
Ủa, câu 24 người ta nói rõ mà.
Thế là có nhiều cái này đúng không?
Like materials science, machine design, physics, and of course mechanics. And
Wow.
they're all fine. But it's maths that I'm struggling with. It's a lot harder than it was at school.
I can believe it. It all sounds very difficult to me. But then I never was very good at mechanical things. I suppose it must involve some practical work.
Well, not at the moment. Currently, it's nearly all theory.
Người ta còn nhấn mạnh cơ.
It's nearly all theory.
Người ta còn nhấn mạnh cơ.
Nghe theory chưa?
Lots harder than it was at school.
I can believe it. It all sounds very difficult to me. But then I never was very good at mechanical things. I suppose it must involve some practical work.
Well, not at the moment. Currently, it's nearly all theory.
It's gì? Yeah, it's nearly all theory. Ok, phát âm lại cả cụm nhá. 2, 3. Theory. It's nearly all theory. Nói liền vào cho anh nhé, liền trong một hơi thôi. Ok. 2, 3. Chậm quá. Nhanh cái miệng lên. 2, 3. Theory. Số mình. Cả cụ. Nhanh hơn nữa. Một hơi thôi, đúng một hơi duy nhất thôi, liền hết với nhau. It's nearly all theory. It's nearly all theory. Theory. Tính không? Rồi ok xong nhá. Phía dưới ok không? Engine với Sender được không? Rồi. Ok nhá, tiếp. 27, xin mời nhóm của Đức. Chắc chắn là A. Những ai chọn A giơ tay. Chính xác. Sociable. 28, xin mời nhóm của Xuân Minh. C, đáp án chưa chính xác. Rồi nghe câu 28 nhá, nghe nốt ra xem nó là gì.
Been doing a lot of sitting around and chatting over the last week or so.
Well, that's good. The only person I've spoken to really is my tutor. He's very approachable and seems to understand how difficult it can be starting university.
It's good to have someone you can talk to, and he may help you meet other students.
Actually, that doesn't bother me. I'm bound to get to know some people sooner or later. It's more a question of finding out what I need to do, where to go, and so on. I hope he can help me with that.
Oh, I would have thought so. Well,
Chọn gì rồi? B á. Chính xác là trong băng thì ông George, ông ấy hope tutor sẽ làm gì cho ông ấy? Thôi nghe lại. Em muốn em nghe kỹ từng từ một nhá, xem chính xác ông nói gì nhá.
Where to get to know some people sooner or later. It's more a question of finding out what I need to do, where to go, and so on. I hope he can help me with that.
oh, I would have thought.
Lại lần nữa rồi. Ta xem những các bạn đừng nhắc tới nhá. Nghe kia.
Meet other students.
Actually, that's
You can talk to, and
Rồi tua lại từ đoạn tutor luôn ấy.
the only person I've spoken to really is my tutor. He's very approachable.
He's very gì? Nghĩa là dễ gì? Dễ tiếp cận, ám chỉ người dễ gần.
And seems to understand how difficult it can be starting university.
it's good to
Chưa thấy đáp án đâu đúng không? Chưa thấy gì cả.
have someone you can talk to, and he may help you meet other students.
Cái này đang đề cập đến đáp án nào?
Actually, that doesn't bother me.
That doesn't bother me.
I'm bound to get to know some people.
Ông ấy vừa nói gì ấy? Có cái từ bao đấy là như nào? About you ấy. Đây là lời nói người Anh ấy. Rebound đấy, đúng rồi. Đây đang ở đáp án có 1 nhá. Ghi thêm cho anh này. I'm bound to. Nó có nghĩa là tôi chắc chắn sẽ. Thì chỉ đơn giản thế thôi. I'm bound to nghĩa là tôi chắc chắn sẽ. Nó giống như kiểu trong anh Mỹ nó hay nói là I'm gonna meet someone sooner or later. Được, ok. Trong phần speaking thì ok. Nhưng mà cũng hạn chế. Thì ở trong anh ấy nó hay nói là I'm bound to. Kiểu gì kiểu gì tao sẽ gặp người khác rồi ấy. Ông ấy nói là I'm bound to get to know some people sooner or later. Chúng ta nghe lại nhé để repeat nhá.
That doesn't bother me. I'm bound to get to know some people sooner or later.
Rồi, cái nói cho anh cũng I'm bound to get to know some people trước này. 2, 3.
I'm bound to get to know some people
Sooner or later. Rồi, ok, xong, thế thôi. Nhớ cụ I'm bound to nhá. Như vậy A đáp án bị gì rồi? Lại rồi.
It's more a question of finding out what I need to do, where to go, and
What I need to do, where to go,
so on.
and so on. Thế là cái nào? Đó là cái B. Có liên quan, có cái subject gì ở đây không? Subject gì? Settle into university có nghĩa là đi đâu để học này, đúng không? Làm gì này, rồi vân vân kiểu như vậy. Thế đáp án là B.
I hope he can help me with that.
I hope he can help me with that. Xong câu 28 nhá. Ai chọn được B ở đây? Ok, nhiều phết. Thế sao lúc đầu toàn gọi C với A vậy? Theo số đông của bà này nhá. 29 29C các bạn, chính xác. 30 C. Cho là C à? À xin lỗi, 30 là C à? Ok, C là chính xác. Nào tính điểm. Tính phát 3 chưa?
Không phải. Đúng hết rồi. Đúng hết. Bài này em làm rồi.
Phát đây. Nhóm của Linh chơi. Hay câu.
Là của em 10 chị Linh.
Không, tính người thấp nhất. Làm việc nhóm à. Sau khi đã trao đổi đáp án lựa là bao nhiêu? Anh cho trao đổi rồi mà, cho trao đổi cho sửa đáp án rồi mà.
Cho sửa đáp án thì 10. Bởi vì em làm rồi.
Là em sửa theo Đức luôn à? Là bao nhiêu?
10.
10 cao, ok. Phía dưới.
Trả ra nó vui.
Cao nhất là anh? Thấp nhất. 7. Chọn đâu anh?
9.
Trường à? Đâu anh thấy cái nhóm này sai nhiều mà.
Đâu.
Wow, check vào.
Real.
Đưa đây.
Cái mô tỏ em phải sửa lớn. Được, không được. Anh check bài này xem. Check bài này anh tính theo kiểu anh làm. Đâu đấy. Anh phải xem bài này. Đây này, anh C. Ba hai em. Mỗi em chưa em điền tạm vừa rõ.
Thế là sai mấy đây?
Sai mấy nhỉ? 90 em 9. Không. Nhưng mà cái check bài này không đâu.
Chín à?
Rơi bài.
Thấp nhất đang là nhóm thích nhá.
Ủa.
Phần 4. Tương tự 2 phút thảo luận. Chốt về một đáp án nhá, của nhóm nhá. Từ từ, nghe trước khi thảo luận giúp anh một việc, đấy là đừng xóa cái đáp án của mình đi nhá. Nhưng mà cái đáp án mà chốt cuối cùng thì ghi cho anh bao nhiêu là đóng ngoặc. Hiểu ý không? Đáp án chốt cuối cùng mở ngoặc đóng ngoặc bên cạnh. Hoặc nếu như nó hiểu được. Không thì chốt về một đáp án.
Bài này em làm rồi. Philen là
nói chứ ai mà chắc là phải rồi.
Có thể đúng số rồi sai sai lưng mà chưa bao lát đâu just reading through them. Just be just be turn play on your silent. Oh no, they probably really should know. Just
CE hoặc là nghe thế mà sai lầm CE nhưng mà của em nó chưa là bảo lòng đấy em cũng giải bài tao như đi có từng đóng graphic một tí đấy mà nó chốt rồi không được sai lầm sai right 36%. Nhưng mà verb cái là bắt làm rồi verb tối đa biết phải rồi nó verb
And with summarize cái sai.
trở xong em tu vào cái đi tiếp fit đi của ba bỏ cái chó đi á fit đi cái này phê nhá sai lên tê mà
Đang cho lên
no just me bro sai lên tê sai lên có thể là đúng hết có thể không đúng hết tê just me bro just me bro con phải chết phải em
Cái bài làm gì đâu, à ngoan vẫn không biết mà. Chắc phải chết trên này, chết này. Chết. Ok, xong chưa? Xong nhá, chốt nhá. Chuyển vũ đỏ đi.
nào bro
Câu 31. Câu này gần như ai cũng nghe được. Supportive. Số 32. Câu này dễ, pay attention. Rồi hết 2 câu dễ rồi, câu 33 khó. Next step. Có S đấy.
Có.
Đáp án
có rồi
đáp án khác nào?
không có em đây
No S. Ok. Summarize. Còn gì nữa không? Summary luôn. Ghi hết vào đi. Summarize nữa. Summer gì? Là nhóm của Thịnh là submarine à? Cẩn thận đấy nhá. Anh vừa nghe hết tất cả đáp án các nhóm rồi đấy. Tí nữa chỉ có một đáp án đúng thôi.
Trong 3 này có này.
Trong 3 cái này có một đáp án đúng. 34. Con này hình như có phân vân về mặt chính tả cái sao ấy. Viết thế nào đấy?
con sister sis với cả từng này
Tuần là tuần như nào?
tê chẳng là tê nén 10 xong rồi tê
10 à? Đấy gì? Ok. T này, đây nữa. Các viên tiếp theo đi.
CE consistent T
Nghe này gì? Rồi để tạm đấy nha. 35. Graphic. Có S không?
chắc chắn là không
Nào, tiếp nào.
graphic thêm S đấy S rồi không có là cái bức tranh
Pictures à? Nhưng mà nhóm em chốt là picture cái gì? Không biết thì thôi, để đấy. Ở dưới còn đáp án nữa không? Không thì 100% là không đúng không? Nhóm Huy có bảo tự tin lên em. Bài số 4 này thì số đông thì thường là không đúng. Hả? Form. Có S không? Đây hả? Có. Ok. Tiếp tục. Đấy là câu số 35. Câu số 36.
36 rồi
Tone. Tiếp đi. Silence.
Không bên dưới.
À bên dưới. Thế thôi đúng không? Có tone đúng không? 37 là gì? Silent T à? Đây à?
Chuẩn luôn. Kêu là CE ạ. Không, sai rồi đấy. Phải T mới đúng.
Có ai CE không?
Không CE, không CE.
Rồi có hai. Bên này
Của em là thấu khen nhất.
trái phải. Phải à? Trái à? Trái. Từng T cái gì? Minh Anh với Tâm. CE à? Ok. Đấy, có hai kiểu người. Silent T và Silent CE. Báo luôn nhé, cái này liên quan đến ngữ pháp đách phải nghe đâu. 38.
Weak verbs.
Weak verbs à?
Weak verbs.
Weak. Đây đúng không?
Vâng.
Verbs là S à?
Vâng, verb em.
Có thêm gì không anh em ơi?
Không thêm không.
39.
Repeat.
Repeat. Repeat với thế nào?
Repeat.
Repe.
AT.
Add à?
Repeat.
Đấy gì?
Repeat.
40.
Predict.
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 Ok.
Ô hai cái thằng này.
Có gì nữa không?
Predicting. Đúng rồi. Predict chắc thấy đúng rồi.
À, predicting à?
Em nghĩ reading
Cũng hai trường phái, một là predict hay là predicting à? Trên này đang là gì đấy? Rồi, kê hết, chốt đáp án. Bây giờ sẽ những đáp án. Số body là đúng rồi này. Attention đúng rồi này. Ở câu số 33 nghe lại.
Ôi sao?
Having said all that, what I'm about to tell you will apply next steps. For this assignment,
Tùa phát đúng đáp án luôn.
and could include facts,
Từ nghe lại.
statistics, personal experiences, etc. After this, you should summarize what you've presented and
Close with đúng không? Thì đáp án nó sẽ là đoạn này.
what I call next steps.
Next step có S nhá. Đúng đâu? Sai nhá.
Sai.
Lúc ấy kia nó còn gân cổ em bảo không có S mà.
Đâu?
Em nghĩ là next step thì em chỉ một cái step tiếp theo xong rồi em tiếp một cái step tiếp theo.
Thì còn nhiều bước nữa.
Em mỗi một cái em một cái step.
Em cứ thử next step nó là tự nhiên.
Rồi. Lúc nãy có nghe từ summarize đúng không? Summarize thứ nhất chưa phải bước cuối cùng, mà thứ hai muốn điền summarize ở đây có cái dưới cái thằng Nguyễn này nhìn thấy không? Phải là summarizing. Nếu như muốn điền nó phải là summarizing, tại vì sau giới từ mà. Nên là về mặt ngữ pháp ở đây là em phải loại cái đáp án summarize thì rồi. Đáp án là next steps. Câu số 34 đúng rồi nhé, cái system cái chính tả này chuẩn rồi. Rồi câu 35. Graphic à? Xem có S không rồi?
For this assignment, you could simply check out the same type of font, and the bullet points need to be presented in the same way. And don't just stick to words. Don't just stick to words. Bring the presentation to life by adding graphics.
Có S nha. Bring the presentation to life by adding graphics. Tiếp. Câu 36 thì đúng chôn rồi. Rồi 37. 37 nó về mặt ngữ pháp phải chọn nữa. Tại sao? Danh từ là sẽ được CE chứ. Đây mới là danh từ à?
Em nhầm em nhìn đâu vẫn là từ.
Hả? Silent CE chứ. Nghe lại sẽ đúng không? Tua và
A good tip is to pick people out and look at them for around 5 seconds. There may be points in your presentation that you want your audience to really absorb. And in order to make important points stand out, you may consider adding silence.
Cái này silence add ở cuối không? Thì nó là CE. Silence.
Chính là nó.
Đây là danh từ nhá.
Cái thằng thích xe. Đúng thì đúng gì? Đúng chép tao sai chứ. Tao chép mày bao giờ? Quên số tham khảo.
Trên này là silent T.
Đâu? Ủa? Viết xe mà.
Tôi mới bảo với anh là TET mà.
Hai. Chốt là xe.
Chốt là T nhá. Anh lúc ấy một vài nhóm trên này là CE thôi. Nhóm ở dưới ban 2 là CE thôi, còn lại toàn T à.
Lại phải chép tao chứ.
Số 38 big verb đúng rồi. Mà chỉ repeat đúng luôn. Nào 40 về mặt động từ thì predict gì? Predicting chứ, sau bài này.
Nhưng mà em tưởng là reading
Reading á.
Reading through.
Reading through them à?
Chuẩn luôn.
Sao là reading nhỉ?
nghe lại xem ạ.
Nghe lại nha. Có thằng reading ấy nhưng mà không phải reading through cái này.
Hears, seems, could be, and can be unwelcome, and you may get them for a variety of reasons. It's likely, however, that there's something in your presentation that's unclear or confusing. So my advice is to reduce problems by reading through your presentation beforehand.
Reading through cái gì? Read through cái gì? Cái quan trọng nhất thì không nghe thấy à?
To reduce problems by reading through your presentation beforehand.
Reading through your presentation đúng không? Nhưng mà ở đây đang là reading through them, ở đây là cái gì? Interruption. Thì không liên quan đến nhau đúng không? Đây.
And predicting potential points.
Predicting potential points. Đó, potential point ở đây.
Which could cause interruptions.
Đấy. Potential point that could cái gì cause interruption thì nó phải là predicting nhé. Reading through nó là nhiễu. Nhớ nghe full hết cả cụm ấy nhá. Hết rồi đấy. Nhóm rồi đi.
72 rồi. 7 nha.
Chuẩn không em? Phương Anh. Minh Anh.
Tôi 19 rồi nó không rồi.
Thì
8 không? Mạnh nhất Việt Nam. Nhiều mạnh nhất Việt Nam.
7 đúng không? Hấp dẫn đang là
Thằng này sai hả? Thằng này kêu anh đúng không? Tính mày chứ. Sao tính tao? Anh
ba
tính
nhỏ.
thấp nhất rồi.
hả?
Tính thấp nhất rồi.
Chứ thì nó 8 này.
8 hả? Ô, Thảo ơi, ô. Sẽ bán gì? Một cái.
Ok.
Cà phê với cây đấy. Đây.
Test 8.
Đây, hai cái. Cứ cắn đi nhá, cắn đây nữa. Ok, cắn đi.
Vẫn còn.
Nhiều mix step mà.
Có 3 nhóm bằng điểm nhau nhá.
Anh ấy nó 7 mà.
Còn test 8 nữa.
Nó 7 mà. Cái câu next step ghi là mix step mà.
À thế à?
7 rồi thôi. Rồi thôi. Ủa rồi em này.
Láo trừ thêm điểm nữa.
Ôi sao?
Mấy cái nhóm lân cận check va nhau ấy á. Trừ bớt điểm đi đỡ đối thủ. 7 thật sự. Ông Thịnh ông vào tầm ngắm rồi nhá.
73.
Rồi hostel accommodation. Đương nhiên rồi. Làm 2 đề mà chuẩn nhá. Để cho đi tôi nhanh tí làm nhanh. Ích tốc độ lên đi nhá.
This is the Ielts listening test. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions.
Dormitory for $19 per person.
Hi Nick, it's Julie. Have you managed to find any information about accommodation in Darwin?
Fine.
I was just going to call you. I found some on the internet. There were quite a few hostels for backpackers there. The first possibility I found was a hostel called Top End Backpackers.
Okay.
It's pretty cheap. You can get a bed in a dormitory for $19 per person. Private rooms cost a bit more, but we'll be okay in dormitories, won't we?
Sure.
So, that hostel has parking, though that doesn't really matter to us, as we'll be using public transport.
Yeah. Are there any reviews on the website from people who have been there?
Well, yes. They aren't all that good, though. Some people said they didn't like the staff. They had an unfriendly attitude.
That's quite unusual in a hostel. Usually all the staff are really welcoming.
That's what I thought. People said they liked the pool and the fact that the rooms had air conditioning. But the problem with that was that it was very noisy, so they were kept awake. But it was too hot if they turned it off, so they had to put up with it.
Someone told me there's another hostel called Gumtree something.
Gumtree Lodge. It costs a bit more. $45 a person.
What?
Oh, no. That's for private rooms. It's $23.50 for the dorms.
That's more like it.
It looks to be in quite a good location. A bit out of town and quiet, but with good transport and quite near a beach.
Has it got a pool?
Yes, and its own gardens. The reviews for that one are mostly okay, except for one person who said they couldn't sleep because there were insects flying around in the dormitories.
Not for me then. And I'd rather be somewhere central, really.
Right. There's a place called Kangaroo Lodge. They've got dorms at $22, and it's downtown, near all the restaurants and clubs and everything. So that should suit you. And it doesn't close at night.
So there's always someone on reception? That sounds good.
The only criticism I saw was that the rooms were a bit messy and untidy, because people just left their clothes and stuff all over the beds and the floor.
Don't hostels usually have lockers in the bedrooms where you can leave your stuff?
Yeah, they do usually, but apparently they don't here. Still, hostels are never particularly tidy places, so that doesn't bother me. And the same person said that the standard of cleanliness was pretty good, and especially the bathrooms. They were excellent as far as that went.
Right. Yeah, I reckon Kangaroo Lodge sounds the best.
Me too. Quite a lot of people reviewing it said it was really fun there. Like every night everyone staying there got together and ended up having a party. So it sounds like it's got a really good atmosphere.
Okay, let's go for that one.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you will have some time to look at the questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
Did you get the address of Kangaroo Lodge?
Yes, it's on Shadforth Lane.
Can you spell that?
Shadforth. It's near the transit centre, where the intercity buses and the airport buses drop you off.
Cool. I'm really looking forward to this. I've never stayed in a hostel before. Do they provide bed linen, sheets and things?
Yeah. And you can usually either bring your own towel or hire one there. But they don't usually provide those for free.
Okay. And what happens about meals?
Well, you don't have to pay extra for breakfast. It varies a lot in different places, but generally it's okay. And there's usually a cafe where you can buy a snack or a hot meal for lunch. But actually, If you're really travelling on the cheap, usually for every 5 or 6 rooms, there's a kitchen where you can knock up a snack, and that saves a lot of money.
Great. Right. Well, shall I go ahead and book that?
That is the end of part 1. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to part 1. Part 2.
You will hear a guide at an outdoor sculpture park talking to a group of visitors. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Anglia Sculpture Park. Right, well the idea behind the Sculpture Park is that it's a place where works of art such as large sculptures and carvings can be displayed out of doors in a natural setting. As you'll have noticed when you drove here, most of the land around the park itself belonged to a family called the De Quinces, who had made a lot of money from manufacturing farm machinery and who also owned substantial stretches of forest land to the north of the park. They built a house in the centre of the park, not far from where we're standing now, but this burnt down in 1980 and the De Quinces then sold the land. The Anglia Sculpture Park isn't the only one in the country. Several of the London parks sometimes display contemporary sculptures, and there are a couple of other permanent sculpture parks in England. But we're unique in that some of our sculptures were actually created for the sites they occupy here, and we also show sculptures by a wider range of artists than anywhere else in the country. For example, at present we have an exhibition by Joe Tremaine of what he calls burnt sculptures. These are wood and stone sculptures that he's carved and marked with fire to illustrate the ferocity and intensity of the forces that have shaped our planet over millions of years. They look really dramatic in this rural setting. To see some of the sculptures, you'll need to follow the path alongside the lower lake. We had to renovate this after the lake overflowed its banks a couple of months ago and flooded the area. The water level's back to normal now, and you shouldn't have any trouble. The path's very level underfoot. You should be back at the visitor centre at about 4 o'clock. If you have time, it's worth taking a look at the centre itself. It's not possible to go upstairs at present, as builders are working there adding another floor, but the rest's well worth seeing. The architect was Guy King. He was actually born in this part of England, but he recently designed a museum in Canada that won a prize for innovation in public buildings. If you want to get something to eat when you get back, like a snack or a sandwich,
The terrace room is currently closed, but you can go to the kiosk and buy something, then sit on one of the chairs overlooking the lower lake and enjoy the view as you're eating.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you will have some time to look at the questions 17 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
Now, let me just tell you a bit about what you can see in the sculpture park. If you look at your map, you'll see the visitor centre, where we are now, at the bottom, just by the entrance. Since we only have an hour, you might not be able to get right around the park, but you can choose to visit some of the highlights. You might like to take a look at the Joe Tremaine sculptures, which are displayed on this side of the upper lake, just behind the education centre and near the bridge. They're really impressive, but please remember not to let your children climb on them. One of our most popular exhibitions is the Giorgio Catalucci bird sculptures. They're just across the bridge on the north side of the lower lake. I love the way they're scattered around in the long grass beside the lake, looking as if they're just about to take to their wings. You can also go to the garden gallery. It's on this side of the upper lake. From the visitor centre, you go to the education centre, then keep on along the path and you'll see it on your right. There's an exhibition of animal carvings there which is well worth a look. We also have the Longhouse. That's quite a walk. From here, you go to the bridge and then turn left on the other side. Soon you'll see a winding pathway going up towards the northern boundary of the park. Go up there and you'll find it at the top. They have some abstract metal sculptures that are well worth seeing if you have time. Okay, well, now...
That is the end of part 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 2. Part 3.
You will hear a first-year marketing student called Leo talking to a second-year student called Anna about his marketing report. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26.
Anna, I wanted to ask you about my marketing report. I'm not sure about it.
That's okay, Leo. So what do you have to do?
Choose a product or service, then compare two organisations that produce it. I'm doing instant coffee.
But haven't you got a weekend job in a clothing store? Why didn't you choose clothing?
That was my first thought, because I thought it would give me some practical examples. But when I searched for men's clothing on the internet, there were hardly any articles. So then I looked for coffee, and I found there were tons.
Yeah, there are so many brands on the market now. Okay, so how much have you actually written?
I've done part 1 on economic and technological factors. I found some good data on technological changes, how in Australia fewer people are buying instant coffee because of cheap coffee percolators that they can use to make real coffee at home.
But there's also a movement away from drinking coffee.
Switching to things like herbal teas instead because they think it's healthier. But that's not really to do with technology, it's more cultural. Anyway, for part 2 I'm comparing 2 instant coffee companies, Coffee Now and Shaffer's, and I've made this table of products.
Right. Let's see. So you've got the brand names and prices and selling size and descriptions. Okay, the table looks good. You'll get marks for research there. Where will it go?
In the section on the marketing mix, under product.
Not in the appendix?
No.
Okay, but it's too factual on its own. You need to add some comment in that section about the implications of the figures.
Right, I'll do that. Now, I want to say that I think that Shaffer's is more of a follower than a leader in the coffee industry. Now, I'm putting that in the section on market share. Does that seem okay?
Let's see. So, you've begun by explaining what market share is, that's important. But you've got to be careful how you give that opinion.
Do you think it should go in another section?
Well, it's fine where it is, but you've got to back it up with some data, or they'll say your report lacks weight.
Okay. One thing I'm worried about is finding anything original to say.
Well, since this is your first marketing report, you're not expected to go out and do interviews and things to collect your own data. You're just using published data. So the analysis you do might not throw up anything that people didn't know before. But the focus is more on how you handle the data. I mean, you might take something like a graph of sales directly from a website, but what makes your work original is the perspective you provide by your interpretation of it.
Oh. You know, it's all so different from business studies assignments at school. It's really surprised me.
What? How much research you have to do?
I expected that. It's more, I knew exactly what I had to do to get a good grade at school. And I knew I'd be expected to go more deeply into things here. But I haven't got information on how the lecturer is going to grade my work, what he's looking for.
Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30. Well, one thing you have to remember is that in a marketing report, you've got to have what they call an executive summary at the beginning. I forgot that and I got marked down.
Yeah, I've drafted it. I've got an overview.
Have you got something about the background there?
Yeah.
Good.
So, I've just made a summary of the main points. I wasn't sure whether or not I should have my aims there.
No, that's too personal. The executive summary is just like what a manager would read to get a general idea of your report if he was in a hurry.
Right. Then I'm okay for the first main part, all of the macro environment stuff. But it's when I get onto the problem section, I've listed all the problems that Coffee Now and Shaffer's are facing. But then what?
Well, you have to prioritise. So indicate the main problems, and then you analyse each one by connecting it with a theory. That's where your reading comes in.
Okay.
Have you done your implementation section yet?
I've thought about it. So that's where I write about what could be done about the problems.
Yes, and it's got to be practical, so don't forget to specify things like who would be involved, and the cost, and the order that things would be done in.
Right. Well, that shouldn't take long.
You'd be surprised. Actually, that's the bit that tends to get badly done because people run out of time. That and the conclusion.
Oh, any hints for that?
Well, it's got to draw out the main points from your report. So it's got to be quite general. You need to avoid introducing new stuff here. It's got to sum up what you said earlier.
Okay. Thanks, Anna. That's been a big help.
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 3. Part 4.
You will hear part of a lecture about the history of fireworks in Europe. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
An interesting aspect of fireworks is that their history tells us a lot about the changing roles of scientists and technicians in Europe. Fireworks were introduced from China in the 13th century. Up to the 16th century, they were generally used for military purposes, with rockets and fire tubes being thrown at the enemy. But they were also sometimes a feature of plays and festivals, where their chief purpose was related to religion. By the 17th century, the rulers of Europe had started using fireworks as a way of marking royal occasions. Technicians were employed to stage spectacular shows which displayed aspects of nature, with representations of the sun, snow and rain. These shows were designed for the enjoyment of the nobility and to impress ordinary people. But fireworks also aroused the interest of scientists, who started to think of new uses for them. After seeing one firework display where a model of a dragon was propelled along a rope by rockets, scientists thought that in a similar way humans might be able to achieve flight, a dream of many scientists at the time. Other scientists, such as the chemist Robert Boyle, noticed how in displays one firework might actually light another, and it occurred to him that fireworks might provide an effective way of demonstrating how stars were formed. Scientists at the time often depended on the royal courts for patronage, but there was considerable variation in the relationships between the courts and scientists in different countries. This was reflected in attitudes towards fireworks and the purposes for which they were used. In London, in the middle of the 17th century, there was general distrust of fireworks among scientists. However, later in the century, scientists and technicians started to look at the practical purposes for which fireworks might be employed, such as using rockets to help sailors establish their position at sea. It was a different story in Russia, where the St. Petersburg Academy of Science played a key role in creating fireworks displays for the court. Here, those in power regarded fireworks as being an important element in the education of the masses, and the displays often included a scientific message. Members of the Academy hoped that this might encourage the royal family to keep the Academy open, at a time when many in the government were considering closing it. In Paris, the situation was different again. The Paris Academy of Sciences played no role in staging fireworks displays. Instead, the task fell to members of the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture. As in Russia, the work of the technicians who created the fireworks was given little attention. Instead, the fireworks and the spectacle they created were all designed to encourage the public to believe in the supreme authority of the king. However, science was also enormously popular among the French nobility, and fashionable society flocked to demonstrations such as Nicolas Lemery's display representing an erupting volcano. The purpose of scientists was basically to offer entertainment to fashionable society, and academicians delighted in amazing audiences with demonstrations of the universal laws of nature. In the course of the 18th century, the circulation of skills and technical exchange led to further developments. Fireworks specialists from Italy began to travel around Europe, staging displays for many of the European courts. The architect and stage designer Giovanni Servandoni composed grand displays in Paris, featuring colourfully painted temples and triumphal arches. A fireworks display staged by Servandoni would be structured in the same way as an opera, and was even divided into separate acts. Italian fireworks specialists were also invited to perform in London, St. Petersburg, and Moscow. As these specialists circulated around Europe, they sought to exploit the appeal of fireworks for a wider audience, including the growing middle classes. As in the previous century, fireworks provided resources for demonstrating scientific laws and theories, as well as new discoveries. And displays now showed a fascinated public the curious phenomenon of electricity. By the mid-18th century, fireworks were being sold for private consumption. So the history of fireworks shows us the diverse relationships which existed between scientists, technicians, and the rest of society.
That is the end of part 4. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to part 4. That is the end of the listening test. In the Ielts test, you would now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.
Là bài điểm thấp quá khóc. Đâu biết đâu. Ok. Thôi nhanh nhé. Số 1. Friendly à? Ân. Ăn.
Nó làm gì khóc kinh hết.
Không biết nữa. Bé tí 3-4 tuổi. Noisy.
Chuẩn đấy.
Số 3 mấy đồng? 23 chấm nhá.
23.5 thôi. Phẩy nữa.
Không một phẩy. Ở họ quy ước là chấm.
Anh chấm trước anh thôi.
Thôi chấm trước thì bây giờ chấm trước được, nhưng nhắc trước nhá, đi thi là phẩy ở đây là sai luôn nhé. Đi thi phải là chấm nhá, thập phân phải là chấm nhá mọi người nhá.
Thế phẩy là gì anh?
Phẩy là ví dụ em viết 100.000 ấy thì ok. Thì đây là dấu phẩy của họ nhé. Còn thập phân của họ là chấm. 50 hoặc 5 đều được. Số 4 có S không? Số 5 Barons. Có A kia rồi thì chắc chắn là gì? Có S nha. Số 6 Party. Party every night. Số 7 chịu luôn hả? Đánh vân à?
S A A D.
S A A D
F O R. Cái gì đấy? Oh no.
F O
R
R
T
H T H. Rồi, còn cách nào nữa không? S H A. Còn lại giống nhau gì? Này à?
Chuẩn luôn anh.
Rồi, cái đằng sau đúng hơn nhé. S H A D chứ không phải set. Nếu như mà là có hai chữ A người ta sẽ nói là double A. Yeah. S H A. Số 8
Chào.
này à? Cái này cái gì ạ? Towel. Số 9 breakfast. Có S không? Chắc chắn là không nha. Số 10 a chair. Kitchen. Này thuận lợi quá nhỉ. Hết rồi mọi thứ bắt đầu chấm dứt ở đây. Số 11 B là bản chính xác. 12 A là bản chính xác luôn. 13 C là bản chính xác. 14 13 C sao? 14 14 B là bản chính xác. 15 A. 16 A chính xác. Map à? 17 là gì đây? Y. 18 C. 19 và 20. Rồi ok. E C F A. S C F A. Making report 21 nào. Rồi A nhá. 22 C chưa chính xác. B mới là chính xác. 23 A. 24 25 B A A. 25 A mới là bạn chính xác. 26 A xong. 27 background. Ok. 28 theory. Lần thứ hai gặp được theory này. 29 có S không? Có S đấy nha. Cost 30 time. Lack of time. 31 gì? Chưa ai đúng à? Em chọn gì?
Tôn giáo rồi.
Religion đó các bạn, chính xác. Tôn giáo nhé. 32. Nature. 33. Cái mình flights. Danh từ mà flights. 34. Hết không? Chính xác. 35. Rồi 35 là gì? Practical à? Practical uses, ok. Tính từ à? Practical. 36. Education hả? Firework was seen as a method of education. Yes, ok, chính xác. 37. King. Yes. 38. Entertain. Rồi.
Từ đây là ồn này. Opera. Đây opera, anh như opera.
Opera, yeah.
Đọc nhanh.
Opera. Umbrella. Nghe lại đi không?
And Moscow. As these specialists circulated around Europe, they sought to exploit the appeal of fireworks for a wider audience, including the growing middle classes. As in the previous century, fireworks provided resources for demonstrating scientific and circulated around. A fireworks display staged by Servandoni would be structured in the same way as an opera.
Phát âm là opera, đúng không? Không phải opera nhá. Opera. Pro thôi. Hả? Tiếp về 40 á?
And was even divided fireworks for a wider audience for demonstrating scientific laws and theories, as well as new discoveries. And displays now showed a fascinated public the curious phenomenon of electricity. By the mid-18th century, fireworks were being sold for private consumption.
Thế rồi. Some display demonstrated new scientific
discoveries. And displays now showed a fascinated public the curious phenomenon of electricity.
Electricity. Ok, tính tiếp. Không, bài 40. À, bài này bài sau thôi. Tính bài sau thôi. Rồi, ok. Đức à? A4 Linh 6. Quy. Tâm 26. Xuân Minh. Anh yêu anh không nghe rõ. Ok. Đức Anh. Rồi, tốt đó. Thịnh không? Ok. Trường. Em làm bữa. Tí em mang cái làm bữa em lên đây. Khiêm. Sao nó làm bừa nó cao điểm hơn em vậy? Khiêm. À sorry, Đức. Mua. Gì? Và Phong 34. Ok. Rồi, 3 nhóm ý điểm nhất ở lại nhá. Nhóm Phương Anh, Minh Anh, Thịnh. Đứng đây ngồi xuống bao nhiêu? 15 cái đi. Thì em.
10 cái, 15 cái.
15 cái đi. 4 giờ rồi. Sao? 15 cái đi đâu về nhanh thử chưa?
Chó này.
Nhanh anh phải đi luôn á. Sập tốc độ. Luôn.
Xong rồi anh trái.
Dạ. Sau
Mình đâu rồi?
đâu bị kẹt đâu?
Cái phần
Em ghi 100.000 rồi chưa? Đấy á? Em mở máy đi, xong xem là đang kẹt đâu rồi. Up chứng minh thư các thứ lên chưa? Em đăng ký bên BC rồi? Hay là IDB? Postal address là em để 100.000 để Hà Nội em để 100.000. Anh cứ mở ra đi xong rồi anh